We have another loaded show on tap for you today on the 49ers Report, but first, we are 342 people away from 60,000 subscribers. I want to challenge the faithful. Can we get there by the end of the week? If you know a family member or a friend out there who's looking for free daily videos, the best 49ers coverage right here on YouTube, tell them about the 49ers Report, and if you haven't subscribed, just hit that red subscribe button right now, and let's start today's show. This is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. We're diving into all of the latest 49ers news and rumors on today's show. Jimmy Garoppolo, Deebo Samuel, Trey Lance, and could the 49ers have a new starting running back come the 2022 season? We're going to explore it all. But first, a schedule change for San Francisco and for players on this roster, especially the players competing for a roster spot. If you're not in shape come tomorrow, you're going to be in serious trouble because this organization moved up mandatory minicamp from next week to tomorrow, June 7th through the 9th. So a lot of players may have been banking on trying to get in shape for next week. Well, mandatory minicamp is taking place this week in Santa Clara. As for some of the players who are going to be there, are not going to be there, we expect Nick Bosa to be on hand. Jimmy Garoppolo will not be in attendance as he recovers from shoulder surgery. We'll touch on him momentarily. And it's unknown right now if Deebo Samuel is going to show up to mandatory minicamp as he enters the final year of his rookie contract. Matt Mayoko on his podcast for NBC Sports Bay Area saying this: Deebo Samuel is not expected to be on the field for practices, but what remains to be seen if he will show up or risk being fined. Now, if Deebo shows up and he doesn't practice or partake in any of the team activities, he won't get fined. If he doesn't show up at all, he will be fined. And for a player who's trying to land that new contract, who's only making around $4 million going into this year, I can imagine that money is on his mind and he doesn't want to get fined. But we'll see what happens with one of the most valuable weapons in the National Football League. More on Jimmy Garoppolo. This from Tom Pelissero, NFL Network. The 49ers have excused quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo from minicamp per sources. Garoppolo has been rehabbing his shoulder away from the facility as San Francisco explores some trade options, and that will continue. As for the most recent trade reports on Jimmy G, that's coming up right around the corner. Are the Carolina Panthers officially out on him? We also want to explore what Steve Young had to say about Trey Lance because he loves the young quarterback for the Niners. And a NFL film expert guru is raving about Ty Davis-Price and thinks potentially he could be the starting running back and unseat Elijah Mitchell. We're getting to all of that. But first, I want to put you to the test once more in the comments section, and I want to hear from you. And if you have to get elaborate about it, that's all good. What is your first memory of being a San Francisco 49ers fan? Plenty of times here on the show, I've explained how I became a fan of San Francisco. I want to hear from you in the comment section. Let me know. It is story time right now on the 49ers Report. As for the latest on Jimmy Garoppolo, here's what the Charlotte Observer had to say about the Panthers' interest in him. Finding a veteran rental who is an upgrade would allow Matt Corral to sit and develop, the rookie quarterback out of Ole Miss. Mayfield, Baker, seems like the best and most likely option over San Francisco's Jimmy Garoppolo, even if Panthers receiver Robbie Anderson isn't thrilled with the idea of Mayfield coming to Charlotte. But Garoppolo's recent shoulder surgery, as well as his injury history, is a far greater concern for some within the organization. The Panthers want no part of his $26.9 million salary, and the 49ers haven't shown a willingness to carry those payments in a trade. So basically the translation there, San Francisco would like to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. They're not willing to take on some of that money. They want the trade destination to take on that salary of $26.9 million. I think it's going to take a little bit of two-way negotiating if the Niners do want to trade away Jimmy G. And you look at some of the numbers, right? If you have a young quarterback in Matt Corral, who you drafted out of Ole Miss, who's a little bit raw, in Lane Kiffin's Ole Miss offense, a lot of the reads were predetermined. And you have Sam Darnold on that team. You have P.J. Walker. They are not good veteran leaders when it compares to Jimmy Garoppolo. And you look at these numbers here. Is Jimmy G underrated? And has he been undervalued with what he did with the Niners in 5 seasons? 33-14 record. That's good for a winning percentage of more than 71%. That puts him up there with some of the best quarterbacks in the league. A touchdown to interception ratio of 71-38, which really is pretty solid, and a completion percentage at about 68%, which is above league average. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo being injury prone and him having the shoulder surgery to his throwing arm is problematic. That has put a dent in the 49ers trade value for Jimmy G. He already lacks elite arm talent. He's not the best athlete in the world, but Jimmy Garoppolo is a winner. This guy is a team leader. He won 2 Super Bowls with the New England Patriots under the best quarterback of all time, in my opinion, in Tom Brady. Joe Montana is number 2. And he went to 2 NFC Championship games and won Super Bowl with San Francisco as a starter. Now, I understand throughout those playoff runs, Kyle Shanahan utilized his running attack often, but Garoppolo, in my opinion, he is somewhat underappreciated and underrated for what he's done throughout his career and what he can bring to another team. I just think teams are having pause because of the injury history, the shoulder surgery to his throwing arm, and then that hefty price tag of $26.9 million. But if you're in the faithful, the Niner Empire, the Niner gang, and you're thankful for what Garoppolo brought this football team, because it seems as though his 49ers career is going to come to an end, then I want you to like the video if you're thankful for Jimmy G. If you're not and you don't like him and you're a detractor, that's fine, but comment why. On Tuesday, after our live show airs on YouTube as well as Rumble, going to be going live for another podcast on the Call-In app, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. Again, that's after our YouTube and Rumble show, where we break down all of the latest 49ers news and rumors. We'll do a segment of some sort. We'll answer your questions throughout a mailbag, but then we'll be going live on Call-In, where you have an opportunity to ask me questions, hop into the caller queue, call into the show like a sports talk radio show. So make sure you download the app on your iPhone or your Android devices by going to chatsports.com/49erscallin and join our weekly podcast. We've been going live once a week. It's been awesome to interact with you via the phone line instead of just reading your questions and your takes on YouTube as well as Rumble. I'll put that link in the comment section and the description of this video. Next up on the show, Steve Young praising Trey Lance. Really likes his potential. Also, at the end of the show, coming up here in just a couple of minutes, Ty Davis Price. Could he play a lot as a rookie? Greg Cosell, one of the most respected film evaluators in NFL circles, he loves the kid as a prospect. First, Steve Young on Trey. He's awesomely raw. Trey is a young player, actually is processing as well as anybody. He can understand what's happening, and he can get to the opening. He can figure out who it is and the receiver he has to target, and that's a real talent. It's not easy playing quarterback in the NFL, and that's just not given. There's a real skill set there. I have 100% confidence that Trey will figure out where to throw it. The challenge for Trey is once he knows and how to deliver it, and that's another great talent that you have to have and develop. So Steve Young basically saying everything that we know and everything that we are learning about Trey and everything that we're envisioning moving forward. The guy has stupid potential, but he needs to work out the kinks. He's a little bit raw right now. The best thing for Trey Lance throughout this offseason is that Jimmy Garoppolo is away from the facility, and Trey Lance doesn't have to worry about Jimmy G breathing down his neck in a quarterback competition, because Trey Lance, with Jimmy G away from Santa Clara, is getting every single rep throughout this offseason that he desperately needs in order to work out the kinks to become the quarterback that the 49ers envision when they mortgage draft capital to move up to number 3 to take him in the 2021 NFL Draft. If you don't believe in Trey Lance, here's why I think you should believe in the 49ers signal caller. People rave about his character, his work ethic, and his leadership skills. Those are qualities that I think you need to possess if you want to be a face of a franchise, especially one of the blue blood franchises in the National Football League. You look at his size and the athletic component to his game. He has that. 6'4", 225 pounds with great arm strength that reminds George Kittle of a Josh Allen. The athletic ability is certainly there, and he is a dual threat quarterback, which I think is becoming more and more important in today's NFL when plays break down, when you can give the defense that back-breaking play to completely shift momentum or even change the complexion of a game and come through with the win. But what I like about Trey, he doesn't solely rely on his legs to make plays happen. When the pocket breaks down, he showed a tendency last year in his 2 starts to have really good pocket feel, good pocket mobility, step up, progress, read the field, and then if he had to, he took off with his legs. He has a desire to improve and get better. He's not content with just his sole athleticism, and he has a quality coaching staff and elite players around him. Kyle Shanahan, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. Then on the defensive side, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Jimmy Ward. There is a really good coaching staff and team around Trey Lance that I think is going to allow him to work out through some of these ups and downs and some of these hurdles that he is inevitably going to face as an inexperienced quarterback in this league. So if you think that Trey Lance can be a good quarterback, I want to hear from you in the comment section right now. If you're a believer in Trey area, type 5 down below in the comment section. 5, obviously, the number that he is rocking. Now we want to shift to Ty Davis-Price. Me, like you, I was surprised when the 49ers used another third-round pick for a running back. Last year, Trey Sermon. This year, in Ty Davis-Price. But the more and more I think about it, the more I think it's a glimpse into what Kyle Shanahan is thinking. I think that Kyle Shanahan wants a durable, physical workhorse back, and he has questions as to whether or not Elijah Mitchell can be that. Now, with Ty Davis-Price as the player, I thought that the 49ers could have selected him in the 4th or 5th round. I thought the 3rd was a little bit early, but I'm certainly intrigued by the player, especially his playing style. He's a battering ram and a hammerhead shark. He's aggressive, and he's not afraid to run your ass over. Really like his size as well at 6 foot, 211 pounds. And even though he's big, brute, and physical, he has pull-away speed and elusiveness to his game. At the NFL Scouting Combine, he ran a 4.48 40-yard dash. What I thought was really fascinating when I watched him, it's how good he was in the second half of games. In the first half, he was trying to find a groove. In the second half, though, that's when he was at his best. And as the game progressed, he got stronger and stronger. 5.5 yards per carry in the second half of games last year. Added a little bit of an element through the passing game as well. And last year with LSU, 211 carries, more than 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns. And when a guy like Greg Cosell, who's one of the most respected film evaluators in NFL circles, is raving about Ty Davis-Price, that makes me excited about the rookie and his potential in Kyle Shanahan's offense, because we know the bread and butter of what Shanahan wants to do is in the ground game. So Cosell on TDP said this: Davis-Price could play a lot this year. He's big, athletic. He's got burst and acceleration. He had some neutral bend to him. He had a physical presence for LSU. He kept his pads low. He finished runs with velocity and power. I really like this kid. I was in some ways, because I got to him late and didn't know what to expect, I was blown away by him. I think he's got all the running traits in an NFL foundational back. To me, there's no question that over time, he can carry a volume load. If you want to give him the ball 16, 20 times a game, he can do that. He's over 6 feet, 211 pounds. I really liked his tape a lot. And when you watch his tape, some shades to me of a LeGarrette Blount, maybe even an Alfred Morris, who Kyle Shanahan is very familiar, going back to his days in Washington. And for Elijah Mitchell, he was top 10 in rushing yards per game among all running backs last year, even though he was a rookie, but he was banged up a lot. He is coming off a knee surgery, and he's a little bit small. And I think Kyle Shanahan wants to run the football a lot to help out Trey Lance in what is a complex offense, because if you establish the run game, it gives Trey Lance some easy throws to make as an immature passer in this league. And I think TDP could be that physical workhorse running back that Kyle Shanahan hasn't had over the last couple of years, although I do expect both running backs to contribute in this offense in 2022. So more yards this upcoming season. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be the second-year guy in Elijah Mitchell, the late-round pick who is an absolute steal, type EM? If you think it's TDP, then type TDP in the comment section right now. As always, appreciate all of you for watching today's show. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I want to get to 60K subs by the end of the week.